Welcome back to MMA Oddsbreaker. Of course, we have the People's Champion, Josh Burkman, getting ready to fight Patrick Cote, coming up here at UFC Fight Night 74, right?
I don't know. I don't. I just put UFC Canada. That's all
Yeah,
I know.
it's in Saskatoon of all places.
Saskatoon, yeah.
Yeah, of all places you could be at, Saskatoon? Like that's
You ever been to Saskatoon?
no, but it's got,
I
from what I
mean,
understand, it's got a huge fight community there. Like there's a
really?
lot of fight fans over there. There's nothing else to do. It's
Right.
hunt, fish, drink Moosehead, and fight. That's
I mean,
it's perfect.
I got no problem going to Canada and fighting one of theirs. So I
Right?
always like my trips to Canada. You know.
But mind you, Cote is more of a Montreal guy. He's on the other side of the country.
Right.
Do you think he's still going to have the hometown hero? Like, do you think are Canadian fans like American fans, or are Canadian fans like Brazilian fans? We don't care where you're from, but you're our countryman, so we're going to cheer for you more.
I wish American fans were like that, bro.
Yeah,
American fans are so flip floppy, right? But yeah,
dude,
I think
horrible.
I know. I think Canada. I think they'll be behind their fighter. But when I went up to where was it, Ontario, to fight Jordan
Mm-hmm.
Maine,
Yep.
the Canadian fans were super cool, real respectful. I mean, and they cheered their guy on, but I had no problem going there and fighting and got treated right. So I'm sure they'll be behind their guy, but. Like I said, every time I've been to Canada, they've been cool.
Let's go ahead and just kick the elephant in the balls. This is an old man fight. Like,
This is some serious veterans.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ring time going into this fight. Like, I can't even tell you like how many ring minutes there are between the two of you.
Right. I mean, they're a lot. We're back in the double digits of the UFC. He was back in UFC 50. I think I'm 56 or something. So I look forward to it because I know Cote's coming to fight, and I need that fight where the guy, somebody's going to come at me and fight and bring that out in me. So I think I think the fans are going to get a treat in this fight.
So it's two guys with a lot of veteran time. Both of you guys, you both love fights. Like you love it when your opponent steps up and challenges you. Not verbal, not trash talking,
Right.
but you know that, and Cote knows that you're going to fight him and he's going to fight you. It's not just two guys that are old and kind of trying to collect paychecks. Like these two guys, they're still trying to fight.
Right.
So I got to ask, you love the fight, you love the game up. What the hell happened with Kim? Like, what went on during that fight? Because
Right.
you loved the fight, but I didn't see it. Now I'm at home on the couch watching. I wasn't in the arena. I wasn't backstage watching the warm ups. But like when he went out there to fight, it was kind of like Burkman was he was a quarter step off. Like something was off. What the hell happened?
Yeah. I think after that fight, I had to ask myself the same thing. Like what happened? Why was I so off that night? I was so off that I didn't even follow my game plan. You know what I mean? Like, and I think for me, what it was is a lot of times what's going on in my life outside of the cage is just, I think my performances are just a reflection of what's going on in my life.
Okay.
And, we had just had a new baby.
Okay.
And, we'd moved from one house into another house while we were building a house. And so all my stuff was in my boxes. I didn't have my office. I was going to Vegas to train for 2 weeks at a time at one point.
Yeah.
I brought in I brought in a new coach to help me, and I was really scattered, and I wasn't mentally where I needed to be. Not to mention I was coming off a torn meniscus and a rib injury. And, all that. I couldn't grapple during the camp because when I took the fight with Kim, I was fine. As soon as I started training, my ribs started hurting again.
Okay.
And so I wasn't grappling. We were flow rolling, but I had to be real careful with that. And again, with all that being said too, my wife had a newborn. We had all our stuff in our boxes. Like we weren't into we were in a rental. And then I was having to go to these meetings on how building my house and this and that. And everything made it so that I wasn't nearly as focused as I needed to be when I stepped in that cage. And it made for a really, I mean, probably one of the worst performances I felt I've had, in a long time.
Yeah, you look like shit. I mean, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, man, like I'm a friend of yours. And like normally I don't talk to you like this. Like when we're
Right.
recording, usually it's off camera and then we throw it down. But you look like shit. I
Right.
was like, what the hell's wrong with Josh? Like this is.
Yeah.
And then so when they put this fight together, I'm like, all right, something Josh called or Patrick called or somebody called and said, look, I didn't do well against the Kim fight. Patrick didn't look so good in his last fight either. It's like I didn't do well. I need a fight. Like I need a fighter
Right.
fight, not
Yeah.
some guy you're gonna put in front of me. I need somebody I can game up for. And so when they put this fight together, made the announcement, I was like, oh, somebody called in and said, one of you called in and said, I need a game. Like I need a game fight.
Right.
And they're like, hey, if Patrick called in, there's like, oh, Josh is always game. We'll put
Right.
them together. Or if you called in, then they're like, oh, Patrick's always game. We'll put them together. It's like it makes sense. Like it just makes sense to have you two fight at this point.
Yeah, I called Joe and I just told him, listen, I'm ready. I got out of that fight with absolutely no injuries. I came out of the fight better than I felt during my, in camp, and right after that fight, literally, I got home and I got to move into my new house. And so I got to unpack everything. I got my office back. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff makes such a big difference for me in the way that I perform because it's not just physical for me. It's a mental process, a spiritual process, and getting ready for fights, And so, yeah, I mean, I'm excited about this fight. I feel like since coming back to the UFC, I haven't been able to show what I can do. And now I just know mentally I'm in the right place. And this is going to be, this is going to be a good fight for me. Really.
This is a little off topic, but I talk to you coach a lot of guys too, but I talk to a lot of guys and now that I moved to Hawaii, I'm not training guys right now. I'm still trying to get settled. I'm still trying to get in a new place. I'm still trying to get back. So I totally understand what you're saying because I feel like complete shit. I haven't worked out in a week because every time I should be working out, I'm looking at a new place. Do I want to move into this place? I'm trying to, I'm living out of a suitcase right now as I'm trying to unpack stuff. So it's like, I understand that process. I tell a lot of young kids when they come in, they're like, hey, I want to be a fighter. I'm like, if you really want to live the fighter lifestyle, break up with your girlfriend right now. Just get rid of her. Don't plan on having any kids until you retire. Live in a little one-bedroom, small-ass apartment, and don't ever plan on moving because all those extra stresses, trying to move, trying to deal with your significant other, trying to deal with the kids, they get sick, they've got to be taken to daycare, then they've got to be taken to kindergarten, then they've got to be taken to soccer practice, like all that extra stuff drains you when you need to focus on your fight. And you just said it. Like, it had nothing to do with training camp. Training camp was fine. Right. Everything else was going on was screwing you up. Do you give the same advice to your athletes too? That you're like, look, just stop all the other BS, be selfish, and be a loner is the only way it's going to be able to work. Do you tell your guys that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I just do it in a different way. I think everybody, I just not to change your lifestyle too much. While you're getting ready for fights, and really the way I talk about it is just create balance in your life. And when you have balance, and when you're out of balance. And for me, I like to be home and I like to be around my family because I can go away and train all day. But when I get home, there's nothing better than my little boy running up to me and giving me a hug and kissing my baby boy and my wife. But also my wife competed, and taught yoga for a lot of years. Mm-hmm. So I come home and she's got an incredible dinner for me made. She's got my protein drinks, made for the week on Sunday. She bottles up, my juices in mason jars and she's a big part of my success. So when I was having to leave and go to Vegas to train, it was like I was missing that part, not to mention we had a really tough pregnancy, like as far as like she couldn't eat much. She was sick a lot. So she wasn't able to do that stuff quite as good. I said, listen, you take care of our boys, you take care of yourself being pregnant, and I'll handle myself. But I really believe that I'm my wife, and now having my wife back because our little boy is 6 months old. Yeah. And our other one's almost 3. So now she's got her energy back. She's here, honey, you got to take this and do this. And this is what's going on. And, now she's leaving me notes, motivational notes, and that stuff for me. It's almost like I got my partner back, my number one teammate. Right. Where I was missing her. And the help she was giving me for a lot of years. Like when we first got married and I went on a nice little run, she's a big part of that. And me getting off and having to leave town because she was sick and pregnant. Like, nobody wants to have to leave town to go work while your wife's home sick and pregnant. Like, at
Yeah.
least not me.
Yeah.
But I was torn, because I would be there training and she's home trying to take care of the kids. And again, it was personally, it was tough, and it made it so that I didn't perform well. And I tell all the guys and the younger guys, listen, just do it. Keeps, whatever gives you your balance, whether it be family, whether it be this, whether it be that. Like, you got to be able to focus on your fight and have balance in your life, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me when I lost. That's what happens to me when I win.
Yeah, it's I think we talked about it before, but Rodney Ferguson wrote a book about women in your life, like athletes and the women in their lives, and we've all seen like major superstar athletes have a messed up husband or a messed up wife that burns down their house or scratches their car
Right.
or causes more drama. And they're like, well, how the hell can this guy function? You're
Right.
like, well, and I know guys like retired fighters now that had girlfriends when they were fighting that were complete psychos, and they would go from psycho to psycho to psycho. You're like,
Right.
how the hell you keep winning? Like, I don't understand how you keep it together, but they needed that angst, they needed that drama in their life to make them be vicious and vulgar in the cage, in the ring. I'm not like that. I always need to have a good partner. You're more like me. You need to have a good partner, somebody you can come home to and handles a lot of the women at home are going to get pissed off at this next statement, but handles the traditional lifestyle of a wife. Like the traditional 50 style of a wife. You come home and like, my jars are in mason jars or my juices are mason jars and my dinner is cooked and my food is. I'm not saying that if she was training, you do the same thing for her. If the roles reverse, you still do it. But there's something about that. Like, and I know the women fighters have guys that do that. I've talked to several of them where their husbands are like, no, that my husband, he sets my strength conditioning plan. He sets my food out for the week. Like, he does everything. So I know when I say it sounds a little sexist, but that's not what I mean. It's like, but having that partner, is it going to be a situation where when it's time for you to retire, she's going to look at you and go, I've had enough. Like, I'm tired of making juice. I'm tired of sending motivational speeches. I'm tired of like, is that going to be a retirement when she's had enough? Because you'll go to your 90. You're just that guy. Like, you'll fight to your 90. You don't care.
Right. No, because it's just our lifestyle.
Okay.
I think I'm half the reason that, like I said, okay, so every Sunday she's got whatever it is that laid out for the week, right? She's got the celery, the beets, the carrots, and the apples, and she juices a big mason jar for her and the kids. And then she's got mine in individual mason jars, and even when I was out of town, she's still cooking. She's very like holistic, very all about the GMO and all about organic food. And, she's just a very healthy person who cares about clear-headedness and our kids being healthy and strong. And so when I retire, it won't be about necessarily me anymore. The reason it's about me right now is because fighting is what supports our family, but it'll be about raising strong kids and staying healthy ourselves, mentally, physically, spiritually. Like, that's part of what this journey for me as a martial artist is to learning those lessons at the highest level, and so, no, I mean, it'll be a little bit different on her because it won't be so intense, I'm sure, in the way that I am and the adrenaline in the house. And, but I think a healthy lifestyle is something that's who we are and what we do. And I think what the difference will be is that we'll be doing it together where she can't really listen. My wife doesn't want to go to a kickboxing class. She went to one and was like, she's a ballet dancer, you know what I mean, and a yogi. So, but I think later on in life, it'll be about us doing things together, where to focus on fighting, I have to focus on fighting, but I think it'll be about doing us together and then listen, I'm going to raise professional athletes. If they end up being engineers or cooks or something like that, that's fine. But I'm going to raise them to be professional athletes, whether it be baseball, football, golf, fighters, whatever they want to do. My one little boy won't put down the guitar right now. So if he decides to play the guitar, then he decides to play the guitar. But I want them to be healthy and strong-minded and educated in everything that they do. And, I think that's part of selling me being away from family. I'm not, I don't want to be around them. They're my energy, my fuel. And so I don't think that she'll retire. I think she'll just have a little bit more help from me. You know.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. Josh, I gotta be honest with you, man. As we close out here, I am super excited about this fight. I can't wait to watch you and Patrick fight. Unfortunately, this is one of those fights I want to be in the ring. Like I want to be there in the arena watching this fight close. I'll be at home on the couch watching it. This is gonna be a great fight, and it really is. A lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, it's two old guys fighting each other," but it's not. It's two seasoned, salty vets that have a lot of fight and have a lot of games still in them. They want to show the world they still have it. And what better place to do it than up there in Canada? Like it's a great venue. It's a great spot. And this fight's going to be incredible.
For sure. I mean, and we're kind of in the same place, we're the veterans that are trying to show that, we still got it. And, I think that I'm still getting a lot better, and I'm a lot better than I've shown. And this is and I know that because of the way my training camp's going. I know that because of where my head's at. I'm in the right place. And when I'm in the right place and I'm balanced, good things happen. And mark my words, this is going to be the best performance you've seen from me in the UFC and maybe ever.
That's great. That's awesome. Josh, thanks so much for coming on here again, man. I can't wait for this fight. Have a good rest of your training camp, man.
I will, and after the fight, I'll be out there in Hawaii to train with you.
Good. Come on out, man. We can. I definitely want to get some roll time in with you when you're not in the training camp, so that way I don't get beat up as much.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later.
Yeah. Bye.